Captain Jake Morrison stood in the command center of Earth's main space station. His hands gripped the metal railing as he stared at the massive screen showing the Galactic Council meeting. 12 different alien species sat in a large circle, their strange forms glowing under bright lights. The tall, blue-skinned Viridians spoke in their musical voices, while smaller, gray creatures nodded their heads in agreement. "The Universal Peace Treaty is now in effect," announced the lead Viridian, its voice echoing through the speakers. "All member species must destroy their war fleets within 6 months. No military ships above Class 2 defensive level are allowed." Jake felt his heart sink. Around him, other officers watched in silence. Admiral Lisa Carter, a strong woman with short gray hair, stood beside him. Her face showed no emotion, but Jake knew she was thinking hard about what this meant for Earth. "This is bad," whispered Commander Kate Sullivan, a young woman with bright green eyes. "Very bad." The Viridians continued their announcement. They were energy beings who lived for thousands of years. They had seen many wars destroy entire worlds. Now they wanted peace across the galaxy, and they had the power to make it happen. The Peacekeepers, their special force, would check every world to make sure no one was building warships. After the meeting ended, Admiral Carter called her top officers to a private room. The walls were thick metal, and no signals could get in or out. She looked at each person carefully before speaking. "We have a problem," she said in a calm voice. "Earth just joined the Galactic Council 6 months ago. We are the newest members, and most aliens think we are primitive. They see us as children who need protection." Jake nodded. He had met many alien species during his travels. Most of them looked at humans like they were pets or interesting animals. They thought human technology was simple, and that human minds were too small to understand complex ideas. "What do they want us to do exactly?" asked Dr. Alex Thompson, a thin man with messy brown hair. He was one of Earth's best engineers and had helped design many of their current ships. "Admiral," Carter activated a hologram showing the treaty document. The alien writing was complex, but the translation was clear. "All warships must be destroyed. All weapons above Class 2 level must be removed. All military training must stop. We can only keep small defensive ships for protecting cargo vessels." "That leaves us defenseless," said Commander Sullivan. "What if someone attacks us?" "The Viridians say they will protect all peaceful worlds," Admiral Carter replied. "But their response time is slow. It could take weeks for help to arrive if we are attacked." Jake thought about Earth's current fleet. They had 50 large warships, each one capable of fighting multiple enemy vessels. They had spent decades building these ships after first contact with alien species. Many of those aliens had not been friendly. "The Corthans almost destroyed our first colony," Jake said. "The Zephyrians have been raiding our outer settlements for years. How can we trust our safety to beings who live in energy form and do not understand physical threats?" Dr. Thompson picked up a datapad and started reading the treaty again. His eyes moved quickly across the screen. "Wait," he said. "Suddenly, look at this language. It says warships and military vessels are banned. But what about other types of ships?" Admiral Carter raised her eyebrows. "What do you mean?" "The treaty talks about ships designed for war. But what about ships designed for mining, or construction, or scientific research?" Dr. Thompson's voice grew excited. "The ban is very specific. It only covers military vessels." Commander Sullivan leaned forward. "Are you saying we could build ships that are not technically military?" "Maybe," Dr. Thompson said. "But they would have to serve real civilian purposes. The Viridians are not stupid. They would inspect everything." Jake felt a small spark of hope. What kind of civilian ships would need heavy armor and strong weapons? "Mining ships working in dangerous areas might need protection," Dr. Thompson said slowly. Construction vessels building in space might need powerful tools. Research ships. Exploring unknown regions might need defensive systems. Admiral Carter was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled slightly. How long would it take to redesign our fleet? 6 months, Dr. Thompson said. But we would need to be very careful. Everything must look real. These ships must actually be able to do civilian work. And if we get caught? Commander Sullivan asked. Then Earth loses its protection and gets kicked out of the Galactic Council, Admiral Carter said. But if we do nothing, we are sitting ducks for any species that wants to attack us. Jake looked around the room at his fellow officers. They were all thinking the same thing. Humans had survived ice ages, world wars, and the first contact with hostile aliens. They had always found ways to overcome impossible odds. I have an idea, Jake said. What if we started a mining company? Big one that needs lots of equipment for dangerous work in space? Dr. Thompson's eyes lit up. The Hercules Mining Consortium. We could say we are planning to mine asteroids in dangerous areas where pirates operate. Mining lasers could be very powerful, Commander Sullivan added. For safety reasons, of course. Admiral Carter nodded slowly. Start working on the plans. But remember, if this fails, we all face court-martial. And if Earth gets attacked while we are building, millions of people could die. The meeting ended, but Jake stayed behind. He looked out the window at Earth's shipyards. Hundreds of workers were building the last of the old warships. Soon, those ships would be gone forever. But humans had not survived this long by giving up. They had always found ways to adapt, to overcome, to survive. The aliens thought they were primitive and simple. Maybe it was time to show them how wrong they were. Jake smiled as he watched the workers. In 6 months, the Viridians would come to inspect Earth's fleet. They would find exactly what the treaty required. But they might not understand what they were really looking at after all. Humans had always been good at finding creative solutions to impossible problems. 6 months had passed since the Galactic Council banned warships. The Viridian inspectors arrived at Earth's main shipyard on a cold morning. Their energy forms glowed bright blue as they floated through the massive building. Chief Inspector. Zenth moved like flowing water, examining every detail with careful attention. Captain Jake Morrison, now wearing civilian clothes with a badge that said Mining Operations Coordinator, walked beside the inspector. His heart beat fast, but his face stayed calm. Everything depended on the next few hours. These are very large mining vessels, Inspector Zenth said, his voice sounding like wind chimes. Much bigger than what other species use for asteroid work. Jake nodded and pointed to a huge ship that looked like a floating mountain. The Hercules. Class mining platform. We need big ships because we work in dangerous areas. Pirates attack smaller vessels. The inspector floated closer to examine the ship's hull. The armor was thick and strong, but Jake had a ready answer. Extra protection for workers. Safety is our top priority. Dr. Alex Thompson appeared beside them, wearing a white coat and carrying a data pad. Inspector, would you like to see our mining equipment? We have some very advanced tools. They walked to the ship's main deck. Thompson showed the inspector a massive cannon that pointed forward. This is our primary ore, extraction laser. It can cut through solid rock from 10 kilometers away. Inspector Zenth studied the weapon carefully. This seems very powerful for mining work. Asteroids are tough, Thompson explained. Some contain metals that are almost impossible to break. We need strong lasers to make the work profitable. Near the laser sat rows of smaller weapons. Debris clearing systems, Thompson said quickly. When we break apart asteroids, lots of small pieces fly around. These systems destroy dangerous debris before it can hit our workers. The inspector made notes on a device that looked like glowing smoke. And these armor sections? Radiation shielding, Jake said. Deep space is dangerous. We need protection from cosmic rays and solar storms. Commander Kate Sullivan joined them, dressed like a ship captain, but with civilian rank marks. Inspector, would you like to see our medical bay? We have the best emergency treatment center in the fleet. They walked through a corridor that had thick walls and reinforced doors. The medical bay was huge, with beds for hundreds of people and equipment that could perform major surgery. This is larger than most military hospitals, the inspector noted. Mining. Accidents can be terrible, Sullivan explained. When you are working with high-powered lasers and heavy equipment, people get hurt. We need to be ready for anything. The medical bay also served as the ship's command center, but the inspector did not need to know that. The walls were covered with screens that looked like safety monitors, but could actually track enemy ships across star systems. Chief Engineer Ben Parker met them at the next station. He was a big man with strong hands and a friendly smile. Inspector, let me show you our navigation system. Very important for finding the best mining spots. The navigation room was filled with computers and display screens. It looked exactly like the bridge of a warship, but every screen showed mining data instead of weapon systems. These sensors can detect mineral deposits from very far away, Parker explained. We can also spot dangerous obstacles like rogue asteroids or space storms. The sensors could also identify enemy ships, track their movements, and predict their attack patterns. But Parker only talked about rocks and metals. Inspector Zenth spent 3 hours examining the ship. He checked every room, every system, every piece of equipment. Finally, he floated back to Jake. This vessel meets all treaty requirements, he said. It is clearly designed for mining operations. I see no military systems. Jake felt relief wash over him, but he kept his face serious. Thank you, Inspector. We work hard to follow all Galactic Council rules. After the inspector left, Jake met with his team in a secure room. Admiral Lisa Carter joined them by video link from Earth's military headquarters. Phase 1 complete, Carter said. The Viridians have approved our entire fleet. 50 mining platforms, 20 construction vessels, and 30 research ships. All with the firepower of heavy cruisers. Commander Sullivan added with a smile. Dr. Thompson pulled up ship designs on the main screen. The Hercules Mining Consortium is now the largest civilian fleet in human space. Each ship can operate independently or work together in groups. What about crew training? Jake asked. That is Phase 2, Carter replied. We are calling it industrial. Safety protocols. Every crew member must learn how to work safely in dangerous environments. Ben Parker laughed. Safety protocols that happen to include formation flying, target practice, and emergency response procedures. The training began immediately. Crews learned to operate their mining lasers with military precision. They practiced debris clearing exercises that looked exactly like space combat maneuvers. They ran emergency evacuation drills that taught them how to board and capture enemy vessels. Engineer Helen Davis had developed a communication system that connected all the ships. For coordinating mining operations, she explained to anyone who asked. But the system could also coordinate complex battle plans across multiple star systems. Jake watched his crews train in the asteroid belt outside Earth's orbit. The ships moved in perfect formation, their mining lasers firing at practice targets. To anyone watching, it looked like a normal industrial operation. Synchronized excavation techniques, he told visiting reporters. Very efficient for large-scale mining projects. The reporters were impressed by the size and coordination of the operation. They wrote stories about human industry and determination. None of them realized they were watching the most advanced military fleet in the galaxy. Dr. Thompson made sure every system had a real civilian purpose. The mining lasers actually could cut through asteroids. The debris-clearing systems really did destroy space junk. The medical bays truly could treat injured workers. If we ever get inspected again, everything must work exactly as advertised, he told his engineering teams. The ships began their first real missions. They mined asteroids, built space stations, and explored distant star systems. The work was real, but it also served as perfect cover for military training. Commander Sullivan coordinated the fleet from her flagship, the New Frontier. On paper, she was managing mining operations. In reality, she was commanding a battle group that could defeat most alien fleets. How are the crews adapting? Admiral Carter asked during a video call. Better than expected, Sullivan replied. They understand what we are really doing. Every person on every ship knows that Earth's survival depends on this mission. Jake looked at the data from their operations. The mining work was actually profitable. The construction projects were building real infrastructure. The research missions were making important discoveries. We are not just pretending to be civilians, he told Carter. We are actually doing civilian work. That makes the deception perfect. The Galactic Council received regular reports about human mining activities. They were impressed by human efficiency and innovation. Several alien species asked for advice on improving their own industrial operations. The humans are quite good at this, one council member noted. Perhaps we underestimated their practical abilities. Jake smiled when he heard that comment. The aliens still thought humans were primitive. They saw a successful mining operation and assumed that was all humans could do. They had no idea that Earth now had the strongest fleet in the galaxy. Ships that could fight, mine, build, and explore. Crews that could switch from industrial work to combat in minutes. A command structure that looked civilian but operated with military precision. The Viridians had banned warship construction, but humans had built something better than warships. They had built the future. The emergency signal came from the Kepler colony at dawn. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking coffee in his quarters when the alarm started beeping. Red lights flashed across his ship's bridge as the message played on repeat. This is Governor Ryan Clark of Kepler Colony. We are under attack by Zephyrian warships. Request immediate assistance. They have broken through our defenses. Repeat, we need help now. Jake ran to the bridge of his ship, the New Frontier. Commander Kate Sullivan was already there, reading reports from the outer colonies. Her face was pale but determined. 3 colonies hit in the last hour, she said. The Zephyrians are moving fast. They have at least 20 warships in the attack force. The Zephyrians were a warrior species that refused to join the Galactic Council. They were tall, with thick gray skin and 6 arms. Each arm could hold pen, making them dangerous in close combat. Their ships were built for war, with heavy armor and powerful guns. Where is the Galactic Council? Jake asked. Still debating, Sullivan replied. The Viridians want to follow proper procedures. They need to vote on whether to send help. That could take days. Jake felt anger rise in his chest. The peace treaty was supposed to protect innocent people. Instead, it was getting them killed. While the council worried about paperwork, Dr. Alex Thompson appeared on the communication screen from Earth. Jake, we have new orders from Admiral Carter. The Hercules Mining Consortium is being sent to help with evacuation operations. Jake smiled grimly. Evacuation operations was code for combat missions. How many ships? 15 mining platforms, 10 construction vessels, and 5 research ships, Thompson replied. All fully loaded with mining equipment. Mining equipment meant weapons, armor, and military supplies. Jake felt better knowing he would have real firepower for the fight ahead. Chief Engineer Ben Parker joined them on the bridge. "The crews are ready, Captain. We have been practicing these safety drills for months." "Good," Jake said. "Signal the fleet. We launch in 30 minutes." The human ships moved through space like an industrial convoy. To anyone watching, they looked like civilian vessels heading to a worksite. But Jake knew better. Each ship carried enough firepower to destroy. A small moon dot engineer, Helen Davis, coordinated communications between all the ships. "Mining operations frequency is clear," she reported. "All teams ready for synchronized excavation." The journey to Kepler Colony took 6 hours. During the trip, Jake studied reports about Cepharian tactics. They liked to attack fast and hit hard. Their ships were strong, but not very maneuverable. "They think humans are weak," Sullivan said. "They probably expect us to run away when we see them." "That could work in our favor," Jake replied. "Let them think we are just civilian ships until it is too late." As they approached the colony, Jake saw the battle damage. 3 civilian stations were destroyed, their metal frames twisted and burning. Cepharian ships surrounded the main colony like hungry sharks. 22 enemy vessels, reported the sensor operator. "They are attacking the colony's defense platforms." The colony's small defense ships were fighting bravely, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Jake watched as another human ship exploded under enemy fire. "This is Mining Coordinator Morrison," Jake announced on the open channel. "Hercules. Mining Consortium is here to assist with evacuation operations." The Zephyrine commander responded immediately. His voice was deep and rough, like grinding stone. "Human civilians, leave this area immediately. This is a military operation. We are just here to help evacuate wounded people," Jake replied, trying to sound frightened. "We have medical facilities. You have 5 minutes to collect your people and go," the Zephyrine said. "After that, we will destroy any ship that remains." Jake switched to the private channel. "All mining teams, begin ore extraction procedures. Target the largest asteroids first." The human ships spread out in what looked like a standard mining formation, but Jake knew they were actually surrounding the enemy fleet. The Zephyrines were focused on the colony and did not notice the industrial ships moving into position. "Ore extraction systems ready," reported Ben Parker. "All debris clearing equipment is online. Mining lasers charged and ready," added Helen. Davis.Jake watched the timer count down. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. 2 minutes. The Zephyrines continued their attack on the colony, confident that the human civilians would run away. 1 minute, Sullivan announced. Jake took a deep breath. "All teams, begin primary extraction. Full power." The mining lasers fired at the same moment. 25 beams of pure energy struck the Zephyrine ships from multiple directions. The enemy vessels, designed to fight other warships head-on, are not prepared for attacks from all sides. 3 Zephyrine ships exploded immediately. Their shields could not handle the combined power of the human mining equipment. The other ships turned to face this new threat, but they were already in trouble. "Secondary extraction," Jake ordered. The debris clearing systems fired next, launching thousands of small projectiles at the enemy ships. The Zephyrines tried to return fire, but their weapons were designed for ship-to-ship combat, not for fighting industrial equipment. "They are trying to break formation," Sullivan reported. "But our mining pattern has them trapped." The human ships moved like dancers, each one knowing exactly where the others would be. They had practiced this synchronized excavation technique for months. The Zephyrines had never seen anything like it. A Zephyrine heavy cruiser tried to ram the new frontier. Jake ordered evasive maneuvers, and his ship moved like a fighter instead of a mining platform. The enemy vessel missed and flew straight into the firing range of 3 other human ships. "Medical bay reports ready to receive." "Casualties," announced the ship's doctor. But the medical bay was actually the command center for coordinating the battle. The fight lasted only 20 minutes. The Zephyrians, expecting to face weak civilian ships, found themselves fighting a coordinated military force. Their ships were destroyed one by one, until only the command vessel remained. "This is impossible," the Zephyrian commander said on the open channel. "You are civilian miners, not warriors." "We are just doing our job," Jake replied calmly. "Industrial safety is very important in this line of work." The last Zephyrian ship tried to escape, but Helen Davis had anticipated this move. 2. Construction. Vessels were waiting along the escape route. Their building tools made short work of the enemy's engines. "All hostile asteroids have been cleared," Ben Parker reported with a straight face. "The mining site is now safe for operations." Jake looked around at his crew. They had just won a major space battle, but they were acting like they had finished a normal workday. The deception was perfect. "Signal the colony," Jake ordered. "Tell them the Hercules Mining Consortium has completed evacuation operations. All civilian personnel have been safely relocated." Governor Clark's voice came through the speakers. "Captain Morrison, I do not know how to thank you. You saved thousands of lives." "Just doing our job, Governor," Jake replied. "Industrial accidents can be very dangerous. We are glad everyone is safe." The human ships began rescue operations, using their real medical facilities to treat the wounded. The mining platforms cleared debris from around the colony. The construction vessels started repairing damaged stations. To outside observers, it looked like a large-scale industrial operation. But Jake knew they had just proven something important. The human fleet was not just capable of fighting. It was capable of winning. Commander Sullivan walked over to Jake. "What do we tell Admiral Carter?" Jake smiled. "Tell her the mining operation was successful. We found exactly what we were looking for." The news of the human victory spread across the galaxy faster than light-speed communications. Within hours, every major news network was reporting the story. The headlines were all similar: "Human mining fleet defeats Zephyrian raiders," and "Civilian heroes save 3 colonies." Captain Jake Morrison sat in his quarters reading the reports. Most of them praised human courage and teamwork. None of them questioned how a mining fleet had defeated professional warriors. "We are famous," Commander Kate Sullivan said as she entered his room. "The Galactic Council wants to give us medals for humanitarian service." Jake laughed. "Humanitarian service? If they only knew what we really did." 3 days after the battle, Chief Inspector Zenth arrived at the Kepler colony. The Viridian's energy form glowed brighter than usual, showing his concern. He had come to investigate reports of treaty violations. Dr. Alex Thompson met the inspector at the colony's docking bay. He wore his civilian clothes and carried a data pad full of mining reports. "Inspector, welcome to our operation," Thompson said with a smile. "I hope you can see how well our industrial safety protocols worked." Inspector Zenth floated through the debris field where the battle had taken place. Pieces of destroyed Zephyrian ships drifted in space like metal clouds. "The reports say your mining fleet destroyed 22 military vessels," the inspector said. "This seems unusual for civilian equipment." "The Zephyrians attacked our work site," Thompson explained. "Our ore extraction lasers are very powerful. When the pirates tried to steal our equipment, they discovered that mining tools can be dangerous." They toured the new frontier, which still showed burn marks from enemy weapons. Thompson pointed to each mark and explained it as an industrial accident. "This damage came from a welding torch malfunction," he said about a hole that was clearly made by a Zephyrian plasma cannon. "Very dangerous when safety procedures are not followed." The inspector examined the ship's weapon systems. The mining lasers looked exactly like civilian equipment. The debris clearing systems appeared to be standard safety tools, Everything had proper documentation and civilian markings. "Your industrial equipment is remarkably effective," Inspector Zenth said. "Human engineering," Thompson replied proudly. "We build things to last." Admiral Lisa Carter watched the inspection from Earth through a secure video link. She sat in her office with Ben Parker and Helen Davis, monitoring every word. "He suspects something," Carter said, "but he cannot prove anything." "The documentation is perfect," Parker replied. "Every system has a legitimate civilian purpose." "And they all actually work as advertised," Davis added. "We can mine asteroids, clear debris, and build stations. The military capability is just a bonus." Meanwhile, other alien species were having their own problems. The Corinthians reported pirate attacks near their mining operations. The Deltans lost 3 cargo ships to raiders. The Altarians asked for help protecting their research stations. All of them had the same request. Could the Hercules Mining Consortium help with their industrial safety problems? Jake found himself leading mining operations across 12 star systems. Each mission involved protecting civilian operations from pirates and raiders. The human ships always arrived as civilian contractors and left as heroes. "We are becoming the unofficial police force of the galaxy," Sullivan said during a strategy meeting. "Every species wants our help, but they cannot officially ask for military assistance." "Because military assistance would violate the peace treaty," Jake replied. "But industrial safety consulting is perfectly legal." Dr. Thompson had been studying the other species' requests. "I think some of them are building their own versions of our fleet. The Corinthians just ordered 50 asteroid processing ships that look suspiciously like destroyers. The Deltans are developing cargo protection systems that could sink a battleship," Parker added. "Everyone is copying our idea." Inspector Zenth made surprise visits to several alien shipyards. He found the same pattern everywhere: massive civilian ships with unusual capabilities. The Corinthians had mineral extractors with heavy armor. The Deltans had cargo handlers with powerful weapons. The Altarians had research vessels that looked like aircraft carriers. "This is becoming a problem," the inspector reported to the Galactic Council. "The peace treaty is being interpreted in ways we did not expect." The council met in emergency session. Representatives from all member species attended, including the newly appointed human delegate, Dr. Thompson. "The treaty clearly states that warships are banned," said the lead Viridian. "But civilian ships are being built with military capabilities. These are legitimate industrial vessels," Thompson argued. "The fact that they can defend themselves in dangerous situations is just good engineering." The Corinthian delegate agreed. "Our mining operations work in areas where pirates attack. We need protection for our workers." "The Deltans support this position," said another delegate. "Cargo ships must be able to defend against raiders." The Viridians found themselves in an impossible situation. The treaty banned warships, but it could not ban civilian ships that happened to be capable of fighting. To change the law would require admitting that their original treaty was flawed. "We need new regulations," Inspector Zenth suggested. "Limits on civilian ship capabilities." "Who decides what limits are reasonable?" Thompson asked. "Mining in the outer systems requires different equipment than mining near civilized worlds. Research in hostile environments needs different protection than research in safe areas." The debate continued for hours. Every time the Viridians proposed a new restriction, the civilian delegates found logical reasons why it would hurt legitimate business. Admiral Carter received regular reports from Thompson about the council meetings. "They are trapped by their own bureaucracy," she told Jake during a video call. "They cannot ban civilian ships without destroying galactic commerce." "What about the other species?" Jake asked. "Are they really building military fleets?" "Some of them are," Carter replied, "but they are being more obvious about it. The Corinthians are building warships and calling them mining vessels. The Deltans are converting cargo ships into carriers. We are the only ones who built real dual-purpose vessels. Jake looked at the reports from their latest missions. The human fleet was growing larger and more capable every month. New ships were being built in shipyards across human space. Each one was more advanced than the last. We are not just maintaining our military capability, he told Carter. We are expanding it. And we are doing it legally, Carter replied. The other species are trying to copy us, but they do not understand the key principle, which is ships have to actually work as civilian vessels. If you build a warship and call it a mining platform, the inspectors will eventually catch you. But if you build a mining platform that can fight, you are just being practical. The Galactic Council finally reached a decision. They would allow civilian ships to have defensive capabilities, but they would increase inspections to make sure the ships were actually doing civilian work. This is acceptable, Thompson told the Council. The Hercules Mining Consortium welcomes regular inspections. We are proud of our industrial safety record. Jake smiled when he heard about the decision. More inspections meant more chances to prove that human ships were legitimate civilian vessels. It also meant more opportunities to demonstrate human capabilities to potential allies. They think they are controlling us, he told Sullivan. But they are actually helping us expand our operations. The human fleet continued to grow, protected by the letter of the law, the respect of other species. They were no longer just Earth's secret weapon. They were becoming the foundation of a new kind of galactic security. The Viridians had tried to ban war, but humans had found a way to make peace profitable. 2 years after the first Zephyrian attack, Captain Jake Morrison stood in the command center of the largest space station ever built. The Industrial Coordination Hub orbited Earth's moon and served as headquarters for the Hercules Mining Consortium. But Jake knew it was really the center of the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Admiral Carter is here to see you, Commander Kate Sullivan announced. She wore the uniform of a civilian fleet coordinator, but her rank insignia told a different story. Admiral Lisa Carter entered the room with a smile on her face. She carried an official document with the seal of the Galactic Council. "Congratulations, Captain Morrison," she said. "You have been promoted to Chief of Industrial Operations for the newly formed Galactic Industrial Defense Corps." Jake took the document and read it carefully. "The Council is making this official? They have no choice," Carter replied. "Half the galaxy is using our model now." The Viridians finally accepted that civilian ships with military capabilities are here to stay. Dr. Alex Thompson joined them, carrying a datapad full of technical reports. The new organization will coordinate all civilian defense operations across 47 star systems. "We are essentially running galactic security now, under civilian authority," Sullivan added with a grin. "All perfectly legal." The creation of the Galactic Industrial Defense Corps had been inevitable. After the human victory over the Zephyrians, every major species had started building their own versions of dual-purpose ships. The Corinthians had mining fleets that could destroy planets. The Deltans had cargo convoys that could invade entire systems. The Altarians had research vessels that could explore enemy territory undetected, but none of them had the human ability to make the deception work perfectly. Other species built warships and called them civilian vessels. Humans built civilian vessels that could fight wars. "How many ships do we have now?" Jake asked. 347 vessels across 12 fleet groups, Thompson replied. Each one is fully capable of industrial work and military operations. Chief Engineer Ben Parker appeared on the communication screen from a shipyard near Jupiter. "The new construction platforms are ready for service. Each one can build a full industrial complex, or serve as a mobile battle station. And the training programs? Carter asked. Expanding every month, Parker replied. We are teaching industrial safety protocols to crews from 15 different species. They all want to learn human techniques. Jake looked out the window at the shipyard below. Dozens of new vessels were under construction, each one larger and more advanced than the previous generation. The ships still carried civilian designations, but everyone understood their true purpose. Engineer Helen Davis had developed a new communication system that connected all the ships across the galaxy. For coordinating mining operations, she explained to the council inspectors. But the system could also coordinate military campaigns across hundreds of worlds. The Viridians are still trying to control us, Sullivan said. But they are fighting a losing battle. They made a fundamental mistake, Carter replied. They thought they could ban war by banning warships. But humans proved that you do not need warships to fight wars. The latest council meeting had been particularly interesting. Chief Inspector Zenth had presented a report showing that civilian ships were now more powerful than the old military fleets. The Viridians were alarmed, but they could not take action without admitting that their peace treaty had failed. We need new regulations, Inspector Zenth had argued. These civilian ships are too powerful. Powerful enough to keep the peace, Thompson had replied. The Zephyrians have not attacked anyone since the Kepler incident. The Corinthian pirates have stopped raiding cargo ships. The galaxy is safer now than it has been in centuries. The other delegates had agreed. The new civilian fleets had ended. More conflicts than the peacekeepers ever had. Pirates avoided systems where industrial operations were taking place. Hostile species thought twice before attacking worlds protected by mining consortiums. The humans have created a new form of diplomacy, the Corinthian delegate had said. Peace through industrial strength. Jake remembered that meeting as he watched the latest ships launch from the shipyard. The Titan-class industrial platforms were the size of small moons. Each one could mine an entire asteroid belt or defend a star system. What is our next mission? He asked Carter. The Outer Rim territories are having problems with raiders. She replied, the local governments have requested industrial safety consulting. How many ships? 50 platforms, 20 construction vessels, and 10 research ships, Carter said. Enough to handle any safety problems they might encounter. Jake smiled. Safety problems was the new code word for military threats. The entire galaxy now used the same language. No one talked about wars or battles anymore. Instead, they discussed industrial accidents, safety violations, and workplace hazards. Dr. Thompson had become the galaxy's leading expert on creative engineering solutions. He taught courses at universities across known space, showing other species how to build ships that serve multiple purposes. The key is genuine functionality, he would tell his students. Your mining laser must actually be able to mine. Your cargo bay must actually be able to carry cargo. Your research equipment must actually be able to conduct research. The military capability is just a natural result of good engineering. Ben Parker had established a network of shipyards that built vessels for dozens of species. The Parker Industrial Standard was now used across the galaxy. Ships built to this standard could work together seamlessly, creating instant fleets when emergencies arose. We are not just building ships, Parker told his workers. We are building the future of galactic civilization. Helen Davis had created the Universal Industrial Communication Protocol, which connected every civilian vessel in known space. Pirates and raiders could no longer attack isolated targets. Every industrial ship could call for help from hundreds of others. Information sharing improves safety, she explained to the Galactic Council. When mining ships can communicate with cargo vessels and research platforms, everyone works more efficiently. The protocol also allowed instant coordination of military responses, but Davis did not mention that part. Commander Sullivan now commanded the largest civilian fleet in galactic history. Her ships were stationed in every major system, always ready to respond to industrial emergencies. "We have achieved something remarkable," she told Jake during a private meeting. "We have ended war by making it unprofitable." "How do you mean?" "Think about it. Any species that wants to attack someone now has to face not just their target, but every industrial operation in the area. Pirates who attack cargo ships find themselves fighting mining platforms. Raiders who threaten colonies discover that construction vessels can fight back. Aggressive species learn that research ships can defend themselves." Jake nodded. The human strategy had changed the entire balance of power in the galaxy. War was no longer a conflict between military forces. It was a conflict between civilian populations, and civilians had learned to protect themselves. The Galactic Council met one final time to address the new reality. The Viridians had spent months trying to find a way to control the civilian fleets, but every proposal failed. "We cannot ban civilian ships," Inspector Zenth admitted. "Commerce would collapse." "We cannot limit their capabilities," another Viridian added. "Industrial work requires powerful equipment. We cannot stop them from defending themselves," a third Viridian said. "Self-defense is a basic right." The Council reached its final decision. The peace treaty would be modified to recognize the new reality. Military vessels were still banned, but civilian vessels with defensive capabilities were officially approved. The Galactic Industrial Defense Corps would coordinate all civilian security operations. "This is not what we intended," Inspector Zenth said privately to Dr. Thompson after the meeting. "But it is what we needed," Thompson replied. "You wanted to end war. We found a way to make war impossible." "How is war impossible?" "Because there are no civilians anymore," Thompson explained. "Every merchant ship can fight. Every mining platform can defend itself. Every research vessel can protect its crew. You cannot wage war against an entire population that is armed and organized." Jake stood in his office 5 years after the original treaty was signed. Through his window, he could see the newest ships under construction. The Genesis-class development. Platforms could build entire civilizations on empty worlds. Admiral Carter, now promoted to Director of Galactic Industrial Operations, joined him at the window. "Any regrets?" she asked. "About what?" "About changing the entire galaxy. The Viridians thought they were creating lasting peace. Instead, we turned their treaty into the foundation of human expansion." Jake thought about that. Human industrial. Fleets now operated in every system. Human technology was used by every major species. Human tactics were taught in every military academy, even though they were called industrial safety courses. "The galaxy is safer now," he said finally. "No major wars in 5 years. Piracy is almost extinct. Trade is booming. Exploration is expanding faster than ever before. And humans are at the center of it all," Carter added. "The Viridians wanted to ban warships," Jake said. "They succeeded. There are no warships left."